I feel like at this point, if you're a fan of a fighter in MMA not named Demetrius Johnson, Brandon Moreno, Robert Whitaker, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, or one of these guys that are just known as the good guys of MMA, it's only a matter of time before one of your fighters ends up in some kind of news that they were involved in some kind of altercation. Some of them good, some of them pretty bad, right? Like recently, we just heard that Sean Strickland held a man at gunpoint. There's a video of it. A man that was like apparently trying to break into his home. I mean, out of all the homes you can try to break into, you just happen to break into Sean Strickland's home. You just happen to be there. It's like, what sort of bad luck do you have to be to end up there out of all the homes in the area? You know what I'm saying? He's not the only one, right? We heard John Jones attempting chasing a robber who attempted to rob him or something. Chased a man with a shotgun off his property. There's also a video of that. It's like out of all the homes you could go to try to cause trouble, you go to John Jones's home. John Jones, the MMA fighter John Jones, with all the guns and the superhuman dog. You go to his home. It's like, how does this keep happening, right? There's of course the stories of fighters chasing down would-be robbers and stopping them, right? And then of course, you've got fighters getting arrested for aggravated assaults or for something else, like Israel apparently, who got arrested at JFK for possession of metal knuckles, which is like why, right? You've got Jorge Masvidal arrested, faces 2 charges after assaulting Kobe Covington in Miami, right? And then the recent one that we just heard is Jamahal Hill, right? And if you type in Jamahal Hill in Google, all you're going to see is ex-UFC champion Jamahal Hill arrested for domestic violence. Now, this was initially reported by TMZ on Twitter. And yes, the first thing you think of when you see this story written in this way is, oh my God, which female did this man hit? Who did this dude, which woman did Jamahal Hill assault? That's the first thing you think of, and that's for good reason. It's not until you read into the story that you realize, oh, he didn't actually hit a woman. He assaulted his older brother, right? If you go and you read the story right here, ex-UFC champion Jamahal Hill arrested for domestic violence, written in bold. That's the first thing that pops into your eye. And then ... after alleged altercation with brother, and you're like, oh, okay, that's bad. It's bad, but it's not as bad as I thought it was. Like, it's not as terrible as I initially thought it was. Says former UFC light heavyweight champion Jamahal Hill was arrested in Michigan for domestic violence earlier this week. According to records, the fighter was booked at a Kent County jail on Monday at around 1 a.m. and released later that evening at 7:35 p.m. That same day, prosecutors formally charged a 32-year-old with 1 count of misdemeanor aggravated domestic violence. In court documents we obtained, officials allege Hill assaulted James Anthony Hill Jr., inflicting serious and aggravated injury upon him. Says they've reached out to Jamahal's reps for comment, but so far no word has gotten back. So you read the story, and again, you're like, thank goodness it's not what I initially thought, right? But then you start to ask yourself, why would they report it like this? Why would they do that? Well, because that's what it is. It's like what he did, assaulting his brother, it is domestic violence. But when you hear domestic violence, and for good reason, of course, we all think domestic violence is violence from a man to a woman, usually 2 people who are intimate. They're married, boyfriend, girlfriend, living together, whatever, right? And when you actually go look up the definition of domestic violence, they point to that over and over and over again. Like right there, it says, what is domestic? This, by the way, is from the DOJ. says, what is domestic violence? Domestic violence is a pattern of abusive behavior in any relationship that is used by one partner to gain or maintain power and control over another intimate partner. This is the way to define this. Meanwhile, if you assault your brother, if you assault your sister, if you assault your mom, I guess, your dad, it counts as domestic violence. But when they define it, they're specifically talking about one form of domestic violence where you're assaulting an intimate partner. It says domestic violence can be physical, sexual, emotional, economic, psychological, or technological actions or threats of actions or other patterns of coercive behavior that influence another person with an intimate partner relationship. Within, right there, within an intimate partner relationship, right? This includes any behaviors that intimidate, manipulate, humiliate, isolate, frighten, terrorize, coerce, threaten, blame, hurt, injure, or wound someone. So again, even the definition of it keeps pointing to this right here. Intimate partner relationship. Again, right there, intimate partner. So it makes sense why when you first see this, ex-UFC champion Jamahal Hill arrested for domestic violence, that is the first thing you think. And people were outraged on Twitter for good reason. For good reason. Because I think even though, yes, it is domestic violence. The term domestic violence covers violence against your brother, right? I think it would have been a better way to report that, at least a more, I don't want to say, like, it's, on one hand, it's like the reporting was accurate. It was an accurate reporting. But I think, just to be fair, knowing what people will already think, and if you want to be honest and genuine, right? Perhaps start with Jamahal Hill assaulted his brother, and so he was charged for domestic violence. That would be, in my opinion, that's a fair way to report it. Because make no mistake about it, even though assaulting your brother and assaulting your wife or girlfriend are both not good, one is worse. Like, we can all understand that as adults, right? Like, one is worse. You definitely, like, if you get arrested for assaulting your brother and you get arrested for assaulting your girlfriend, people will look at you different. Like, okay, why are you assaulting your family? Why are you assaulting your brother? But dude, you hit women? The other one goes way deeper. Like, bro, you hit women? So, that's what makes this particular story, like, odd and just kind of interesting. It's like, man, even though the reporting is accurate, I wish it wouldn't have been reported that way, right? Just to be fair to the guy. Now, that said, I believe his lawyer or his rep, his manager, is essentially denying that it happened. So all of this is, as you can see, alleged. We don't actually know if it happened. He says the truth will come out in court. So we're all gonna wait and see what actually happened. Who knows? This happened around 1 a.m. They said right here. He was arrested around 1 a.m. Dude, like, if you're getting arrested around 1 a.m. in the morning, it's like, who knows? Like, you're probably drinking, you guys are, I don't know, partying or doing whatever. And then one person says something, you feel disrespected, you're probably under the influence, you lash out, you hurt the guy, you don't mean to do it. The police are called, you get arrested, boom, But in time, we're going to figure out exactly what happens. And, I don't suspect this is going to affect him coming back. I mean, he just had surgery. He's recovering from that. And I think it's only a matter of time before we see the man back in the octagon. But first, we'll find out exactly what all this means at a later time. But that does it. Like I said, man, if you're a fan of any fighter not named GSP, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Robert Whittaker, there's a bunch of other, good guy fighters. it's only a matter of time before your fighter is in the news for something. Either they pop for performance enhancing drugs, or they get arrested for something, or somebody for some reason decides to break into their house. Like, why are y'all breaking into the homes of MMA fighters? I know you're not doing it on purpose, but how are y'all so goddamn unlucky that is what's like, bro? Only a matter of time. So, anyways, thanks for watching. This one's for my night owls. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this story. And I will see you guys tomorrow with a brand new one. As always, stay safe. Good night. Peace out.